Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and I like to do fashion DIYs. And in today's video, I honestly wasn't even planning to make a video. It is 11 p.m., but I am motivated to sew and I have this like weird guilt where I don't feel like I can sew unless I film the process. So here I am at 11 p.m. coming at you because this weekend I'm actually going to my brother's place and I have this vision of a photo that I want to take in his backyard because he lives in the country and I kind of really wanted like a country-esque picnic outdoorsy cottagecore themed top, and I don't really have many. So obviously my solution is to make one, and it is Thursday and I'm going home on Saturday, so I don't have a whole lot of time, which is why I am motivated at 11 p.m. for some reason. Anyways, I'm gonna try to do a little bit of it now and then finish the rest up on Saturday morning before I actually head out because I don't have time tomorrow. So that is my schedule for you guys. So I am starting with a men's dress shirt. I actually pulled this from my supply of men's dress shirts that I like to keep on hand for moments like this, to be completely honest with you. This is something that I thrifted through my dad's closet when everything was shut down during the lockdown. I am upcycling something from my dad's wardrobe. So let's start. To be quite honest, I don't have like the most solid idea of what I'm trying to make. I just have like a blurred vision in my head and I'm like, I can figure it out. Can I figure it out?
First thing that I did was remove my sleeve by cutting along the seam line. Then I sewed 2 basting stitches that I will use to create a gather. Once that was done, I wanted to shorten the sleeve a little bit by just folding the cuff of the sleeve to make it a bit shorter. I pinned this into place before sewing a top stitch. Moving on to the bodice, I am going to make myself a pattern from this dress that I own. I really like the way this dress fits with the princess seam, but I'm going to shift the shoulder seam so it is in line with the princess seam. I folded the dress with side seams together to mark out the center front and pinned it into place. Then use my tracing paper to roughly trace out all the sides of the center front piece, using my fingers to help mark out the side seam. Then I refined my pattern and added a seam allowance to all the sides before repeating the same process to the side panels of my princess bodice. Since I plan on making this an open back top, I don't have to worry about creating a back piece. Once I drew out my side piece, I created the shoulder portion of the bodice that I will be attaching the sleeve to. Since I'm worried about this top being see-through, I am adding a lining. So I'm just using this cotton fabric that I have at home to cut up my bodice pieces first. Then I sewed my side pieces to my center piece before moving on to my shirt fabric. Once I decided I liked my bodice, I repeated the same process to the shirt material. So the next step was to attach the lining and the bodice. Before I did that, I pressed open all the seams. Then sewed along the neckline before flipping it right sides out. I'm clipping the seam allowance so it will lay flat.
Okay, so as expected, the sleeve insertion has confused the crap out of me. So I put it on my mannequin to try to like get a better idea of what I should do. And this is what the back looks like. So ideally my vision was to like cap it here so the strings would come from here. And then tie here and then kind of crisscross down. That was what I was thinking. But with inserting a sleeve with a lining, I'm just like super confused. So it's most likely going to turn out to be like a hack job on the inside just because of my time constraint. I don't really have the time to, you know, figure something else out that's more professional. So we will just make do.
To distract myself from my confusion, I decided to work on the straps and the loops that I'll need to complete the tie-up feature. Using my rotary blade and my metal ruler, I cut a 1-inch strip from my shirt fabric. Then I serged the strip closed and used a safety pin to flip it right side out. This is going to be used as my loop. Luckily, I had this bias tape lying around that complemented this top really well, so I decided to use it as the tie that will go through the loops. I found the center of the bias tape and cut it in half to create 2 equal pieces and sewed a top stitch into it to prevent it from opening up. Then I took that strap and attached it to my shoulder seam by sandwiching it in between the lining and the shirt fabric and sewed it into place. I then clipped the corners so it will lay flat and flipped it right side out. Moving on to the sleeve, since there is a section of my sleeve that is not attached to my bodice, I'm going to have to figure out a way to finish that. So my solution was to add elastic to that part. So to do that, I pulled my gathering stitches so I could pin it to my bodice and figure out the placement of the elastic, and I used pins to mark it out. With the zigzag stitch, I sewed my elastic in place, making sure I am stretching the elastic as I go. Then I pinned my sleeve back onto my bodice and sewed it into place and repeated the same thing on the other side. Next up, I am going to be finishing up this back seam, but I have to add the loops to this seam. To do that, I'm trimming my strap here into 6 2-inch pieces, folding them in half and tacking them together so that they are easier to work with. Then I pinned them in between the lining and the outer fabric, equal distance apart, loops on the inside, and sewed that into place. When it was done, it looked like this. The tricky part was to replicate that on the other side, but after some time, I managed to get it pretty close. So I realized that this portion of the sleeve isn't properly finished and it will flip out and expose the elastic when I'm wearing it, but because I'm on a time restriction, I will have to figure out how to properly finish this portion when I have more time and just make do for now. To complete the hem, which is the last step, I'm going to turn this top inside out so right sides are touching and stuff the sleeves and straps into the inside and pin it closed. Then I seam ripped on the inside seam of the lining so I could flip the top right side out and sew the hole closed. The only thing I had left to do was trim away the excess threads and press my top flat, and it was complete. Okay, don't mind my sunglasses. I literally cannot be outside without wearing them. My eyes cry, it hurts to open them, it's a problem. Anyways, I am here, I'm in the country, I'm wearing my country girl checkered backless shirt, and I'm so excited to show you guys the final reveal. And yeah, before I do, I just want to remind you that if you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more fashion DIY content. And yeah, let's get into the reveal.